It's all good. Let's do it.
because
Let's do
I'm
it.
totally into that. I
All
love
right.
their cars. I love what's going on with their whole. I just found out something today where they're doing. They have their own lithium batteries that they're making,
Oh wow.
but there's also something with when you buy a car with them. It's kind of like a program that you join where you lease the batteries, so you don't have to get a new battery if it dies out or what have you. What's going on, and it's a place where they do some separate charging. But then I also found they have a whole other division that's like NIO Home, where is if you have a car, you also become part of this membership club, and you can stay at one of these spas that they have.
Oh wow.
Mm,
So it's a whole
interesting.
other
What
sidebar
company is
where
that?
NIO.
Neo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, when you go on their site, or if you just put in NIO cars, you'll see some of the new cars which are beautiful, mwah, mwah, mwah. Like beautiful. I like these cars, and they got race cars too that they're not even really talking about.
These
But
are EV cars, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But also when you scroll through their site, they show you NIO Home, and then you can click on there, and it shows how they have like illustrations of new cars coming up. They have a spa facility where it's like a pools and hot tubs and massages, and they have a library, and they have a kids thing where kids can go in, while you trying to
They're
get
trying
your
to be like the
relaxation on.
McDonald's. They're trying to be like the McDonald's,
Listen,
man.
listen. I
What's-
was like,
Yeah.
that's
Neo
incredible.
eats ready for tomorrow. These are
And
nice.
that is the main EV stock that I've already been investing in that.
Yeah.
I really like the actual cars that they have coming out compared to Tesla's cars. To me, these cars are actually they look better,
Oh,
and
wow.
they the only ones. They're the first company that's coming out with they have an 8-passenger sedan. I mean,
They
8-passenger,
showing them too. It's big, nice.
but it's big and it's cute though. It ain't big
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
It's not
stupid.
bulky.
This is,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you saw the Tesla truck, but I mean, I'm not knocking it. I appreciate
It's
my
cute, but it's
Tesla.
not that big inside.
It
It's
ain't even
ugly.
cute to me. It's straight 100, like sci-fi, crazy. I'm on the moon. That's what it looks like to me. But I respect that. I know it's kind of that Kanye crowd, like the same people that buy them ugly ass Kanye sneakers and those samples will buy that car.
Yo, come on. You know you talking about me, right? You know I got to
I mean,
right?
but the thing is, I respect that. Like I look at stuff and I'm like, that's dope. I wouldn't wear that.
Yeah, and
But
then
when I
every
see
time
people
they come
pull it out
on
and
my
put it
block
together,
and open those butterfly doors up, the neighbors be looking like, what the
Listen.
hell are they driving?
I'm like, it's not for me, but I definitely know it's for a lot of Americans, a lot of Asians, I'm gonna invest in it, but I'm not buying it. But I love it. I see the power in it,
Got
But
you.
also with NIO, they have this competitor called Lead
Hey,
LI.
come on. I got
This
to
is
pause
nice.
you. You going in. We just was
Oh, my
talking.
bad.
You
I thought it was my turn. I thought it was my turn to just spill. All
I
right.
want to call
This
Mr.
is nice.
GameStop Daniel up next.
Oh, wait.
Daniel and I was right talking about GameStop at $19. And he was like, yo, I was like, yo, just buy 5. And he was like, nah, I don't know. So Daniel, you gotta let us know what was going through your head when you saw all the craziness. And I might just hold you so we can go right into the meme stocks if you just want to know how you do it and come back to that. But you are Mr. GameStop. You was like right there before all the hoopla. You was like, yo, Terrell, I should pick this up. It was $18, $19 right there.
Should have, and it was right after Christmas because I found an article about it, and they had just released the PS5s, and I was telling y'all, I think it was you, me, and
me, you, and Will.
Yeah, and I was,
I feel like,
yeah, it was. We were talking about just like the life cycle of games because it's like 5 to 7 years. They were saying that, and they were saying initially the company's not like a long-term buy; it was just like something short-term. And this was in December, and I was like, "Yo, I should probably get on it." I didn't do it, and it was the worst I've ever made. But I'll let you take it from there. I want to go much into it, but I did my research on it, and it wasn't a bad at the time. It wasn't a bad investment to make just for for me the short term. But, look at it now, right?
Yeah,
but they ain't gonna stay at that.
Yeah, nah, not at all. But I could have made it was
you could have made some money though. Yeah,
I know. Man, but I'll let you take it.
Damn.
All right. Who else? Who you got? Who you gonna tag next?
I'm gonna tag T. Did she go yet?
Huh?
Yeah, did she go
Yeah,
yet?
I'm here. It always takes me a minute to unmute my phone. I'm
Tell
here.
us how you doing and give us the quick version because everybody long-winded today. We gotta get everybody
Yeah,
long.
not me. Not me. I'm too sleepy for that. Sorry, I ain't got no video, but I'm just interested to go into, I guess you're calling it meme stocks. I didn't know that was the name. I want to know about short selling. Like what I realized and what I found out is that it's people betting against the market, but how do they gain is from betting against the market is what I'm curious in learning. And so I'm waiting for that part of the group and some other vocabulary here. That's it. Did y'all hear me? Because it looked like everybody has their phone unmuted and picking up everything else.
Yeah, tag somebody.
We heard you.
I'll tag Will.
Getting ready for the snowstorm. I'm essential, so unless they shut down transit, I gotta go to work tomorrow in that snow. I was making fun of my coworker about GameStop. He also had GameStop. And I was like, yo, your stock is trash. He didn't even say that. He just gave me that look like, yeah. He made like $3,000 off of like 20 shares at $7. So
Damn.
He's saying pretty. But that's it. I'm gonna tag
What's
Vicky.
his name? What happened?
Can't mute.
Who you
Can't hear
tag?
you.
If you're not talking, mute your phone, y'all. If you're not talking, mute your phone because I'll be picking up everything else.
Vicky can't hear you.
Vicky there?
She's not unmuted. The audio is just not coming through.
I want to pre-introduce my young cousin Empress, who's on this line in medical school. I got her investing about a year ago. She hit her goal just last week to $1,000 in her account. So I would just put her on blast now, but all y'all see the new name. My younger cousin Empress is on the line.
You sound low too, bro.
Thank you.
Vicky, am I sounding low as well? Oh, it must be something wrong with the audio then.
Yeah, just everybody who's not talking, mute your phone because I'm not picking up everybody. And when I was talking, it was like picking up everybody.
Yeah, you said that.
Person that's loud. You and William.
Something happened to the audio. That's interesting. Rel, try to leave and come back in. Vicky, you too, because y'all audio's are low.
Yeah, because all I hear right now is Elmo.
Yeah, I'll mute it. I'm just talking right now. Don't worry.
Wait, I'm still my audio is still low.
Still low. Dave, what's up?
What's going on with you?
All right, yeah, audio good. You getting the GameStop or AMC?
Man, I'm so mad right now. I had got into the GameStop and I had finally figured out how to do the trailing stop. And it triggered a sale, and I didn't even know it triggered the sale. So when I just checked it back like an hour or two later, the stock was up $200 and $100 and my joint sold.
Oh man,
I was sick.
You made some money though, right? You didn't lose any.
No, I ain't lose nothing.
Okay.
I ain't make nothing to even talk about. It was just that sad.
Yeah.
Because I was messing around with it for a hot minute trying to figure out how to do the trailing stop. And I finally figured it out. But that stock, it was so volatile that day. It was just going up and coming down, and it just hit.
Yeah.
Hit my joint, triggered the
what
sale.
are you using for your trailing stop?
I put it at 10%.
Which site you was using?
I was
Ameritrade or
on
Robinhood?
that was a Ameritrade.
You know what? The same thing happened to me. I put Ameritrade and I put 5%, but it sold my stuff before it reached 5%.
You can't when I'm sorry about the Elmo and all that in the background, but you can't that had too much volume to do 5%. You would probably have to put like 15-20%.
No,
That's what I was
Because
thinking.
one tick of the ticker was jumping it from like it's GameStop. It was going from like 50 to 100 really quick. Like it was jumping around a lot because the volume is so high. It could be like 1 million, 2 million people selling at once, which is high for that, you know. So it'll trigger really quick.
Mine actually wasn't GameStop. I did mine on Gap when I was selling some of my Gap shares.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's weird. Even when I tried to put in a dollar amount, or maybe I'm just not understanding, you know, because with Ameritrade, you can put in percentage or a dollar amount. And even when I put in a dollar amount, like if I look at it and my stock is like, let's say I bought it at $20 and I want to put it on, say, if it's anything less than $50, because it's gone up to $60. And if I put in 50, when I look back at the final thing, it's not, the numbers ain't right. So I'm thinking I'm not doing something right.
I'll record it. You use your phone a lot for it?
Yeah. I always use my phone. Like when I look at it on my computer, I want to learn better on the computer, but when I look at it on the computer, I'm like, it's so much more information.
Right.
It's
I'll do a screen record and send it into the chat so you can see.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Vicky, your audio working? All right.
Vicky, you might be just listening in on this.
Yeah, I guess you were just listening only mode.
Empress, did you speak up when I dropped off? Give us the intro. Let us know how you're doing, what you expect from the group, all the good stuff.
Okay, hello. Yes, I did hear my intro. I said thank you. I don't know if you heard me. What, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. You sound great.
Basically, what I am expecting from the group is I just want to learn. That's basically what I'm here for. I know I'm still pretty new to it. So I'm open to any information. I'm a student through and through. So that's pretty much what I'm here for. And offer, anything that I have to offer. So if I notice something, or if I'm, just so happen to be researching a stock or something and I think it's a good one, I'll definitely try to contribute any way I can. But I do know that, like, I'm pretty sure most of y'all are more experienced than I am. But yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Empress, thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining. Dave, did you go yet? Give us the rundown. Oh, Dave went already? All right, well, then let's jump into it. Let's jump right on the meme stocks, and they're calling them meme stocks because the tagline of meme is it's viral, and the viral sensation of groups and clubs like this, but much bigger, pushing a stock up just by sheer volume and by collective investing. So that's what happened with GameStop and BlackBerry and AMC. You have a Reddit group that, they made the decision to collectively invest in GameStop back before the summer. And as it got to the end of the year, which generally happens, that's when short sellers really start to hedge their bets and go crazy. They're looking to liquidate assets, a lot of these hedge fund owners. So that's what happened. The interesting part about this is that looking at it from the standpoint of people understand what happens when you're shorting, and Ty, you said you wanted to learn about that, and we could have a deeper conversation afterwards, but it's essentially a side bet on the market. So if you're hedge funds, and why they call them hedge, because they do a lot of options, and they'll short something like GameStop because, to the point that Daniel was making when him and Ian William was talking, is that GameStop, the business model strategically is not aligned to something you would invest in. It's like the Netflix it's our modern day Netflix, essentially, because now everyone can buy their games inside their consoles. So the the long-term potential for that company to make money is not there. So the hedge fund people are like, wow, this is a guaranteed short. We can guarantee that just based on what this company is set to do in the future, we can short this at a certain price. So what happened, you had that momentum of a huge group of investors. I mean, people that, it was like 100,000 people in this Reddit chain that all started investing, and they was investing a lot of money, some of them 500, 1,000, but not just like a couple of shares. They were like going in. So it shot the stock all the way up. So when that happened, those that shorted had to buy the price they had. So when you short it and it doesn't meet that price point, you have to buy the stock for what its current market price is. So that is what they call a short squeeze. The shorts did not make it, so they got squeezed and they had to purchase the stock at its market value. So that shot the stock up even more. So collectively, you have a bunch of hedge funds and people that had to buy the stock.
Hold on, Ralph. Did everybody understand that part? That's basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. Did you watch the video Mike sent?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you short something, you're selling it. You're not buying it. So like you buy stocks, they sold the stock. They didn't have any stock to in their portfolio. So when the stock price went up, they sold it at what, $20. When it was $20, they sold it. Those people on Reddit bought the stock up to $100. Now those people who sold it at $20 now got to buy it for $100.
Is that something like options or whatever? Because I don't understand options either.
You know what? Let me try to explain it if I can.
Yes, please.
This is exactly what it is, because I didn't understand it a lot of times when I was reading all the literature on it and seeing videos on it. But when I started thinking about it like streetwise, I was just like, oh, so basically it's consignment. You don't even have these stocks that you are selling, but you're selling stocks. So you sell 10 stocks at $100 that you don't even own, thinking that it's going to go down to like $50. But instead of going down to $50, it goes up to $150. So now you got to pay extra money to get these stocks back that you don't own, that you sold. So you know what I'm saying now?
I get that more, and that's a better. I do get that, and y'all probably might have to move on, but because I heard that before. But where do these stocks exist? How do they even not have them in the first place?
You have the ability to buy stocks that you don't actually own through margin. So if it was like, let's say I don't want to do that. Let's say you're buying weed, and you don't have the money to buy weed, but they just give you 5 bags. But instead of the bags being $5, they're now $20 when you got to pay them back.
Oh.
Whereas if you'd have had the money to buy it, you'd have just paid $5, but you didn't have the money to buy it. But
so kind of like a loan.
Exactly. This is the flip side, because they sold stuff that they didn't even actually tangibly have.
How can they do that? I don't understand how that
because
exists
you can
in the
do
market.
that, because with the margins you can do that, and with
they all right. So they sold something. They selling against. Now you go talking about the float. Remember when Terrell was talking about the float a few weeks back? The float are shares of a company that aren't owned by anybody. So they can sell against that, and that's where the group picked up on, because they sold so much that they sold against 120% of the 130% of the float. So they sold all of the shares out there that aren't owned by anybody, more than 100%. So that means if that group picked up even a little bit of that, the short sellers was going to be in trouble.
How do they know about that? How do the short sellers know about that?
It's you can go on Yahoo Finance. You can see the float. You can go into any statistics. Rel showed us the float before of any stock. You can go on
if you want, while it's fresh in your mind, we can jump on afterwards and I could dive into it. But I think the whole short selling process is not worth your energy unless you want to become a short seller. I think because it is something, it's a leverage, it's a game of leverage. Kamal's example of weed it's a very good example. But I think shorting is a little more strategic because most short sellers they're playing against the pattern of fear and the way stocks normally pull back, and they're playing against companies that are destined to not be profitable in the future. So that's partly their strategy, but I think we can certainly after this call, if you want to, I can, and it's actually a good example, a visual example that I can show you on the shorting process. But I'd say don't trouble yourself with worrying about like why and why they shorten, because it gets a little technical.
Well, though, I'm not troubling myself for any reason, but I want to be able to recognize that the next time. Did any of you recognize it before it happened?
No, it's, as I said, it's something that you won't really recognize unless you're in that game. Me, Will, and Daniel was literally going back and forth on GameStop when it was $19, and we had no indication, even that. In my 8 years of doing this, 2 of which that was like very, very every day in the stock market, I've never seen anything like this happen. I've never seen anything like it. This is like really an anomaly in terms of, that's why it has a name, meme stocks. So it really is an anomaly in terms of the group, the amount of people that went in, all of the factors that you put into place. So many speculative and retail investors now, platforms like Robinhood that's giving everybody access to buy stocks easily. So it's just a nice group of circumstances that contributed to this super charged short squeeze. So I think short squeeze, I told everybody to look up what a short squeeze is. That gives you an example of what exactly happened. What is the last thing? The trade-in platform. So the deeper issue, and I think Empress, you and I talked about this, and this is just for a collective group, for our insight. The deeper issue is what really went on with Robinhood. I mean, I've heard stories of people had their shares, they had to sell their shares sold abruptly. I've heard a whole bunch of things that went on with the stock. Of course, they put a halt on it. So Robinhood put out that video that Will put out where they didn't even have the money, the clearing house that puts up the money when you're buying the stock, they didn't have enough funds to actually execute all the orders, so they had to hold. So it's a lot going on, but I think it's worth to really do your due diligence and read up on these platforms, because Robinhood is going through a crisis right now. They're supposed to be stealing from the rich and giving to the poor by their tag name, and now they're looking in a space now where they seem as though they sided with some of their investors. I mean, some of their investors are the owners of these hedge funds that lost millions and millions, and I heard a hedge fund lost $1.3 billion on GameStop. So it's big money, a lot of money. And they say ultimately, I think 24 billion transferred from hedge funds or people that do this for a living, short selling, over to the common folks, the folks that were in this Reddit group that had a bunch of those shares. So I think it's good news for Main Street. It's a good news opportunity for Main Street. But I would advise everybody to dive in as deep as you can, because there will be some ripples that I'm sure we'll be talking about in the future.
So Maria puts, should we leave Robinhood? I think what's happening with Robinhood is basically they're too popular for their own good, and they didn't know that people were going to be spending this amount of money on their platform, and now they're struggling to keep up with the demand. They're acting as the clearinghouse, and they need to have a certain percentage of the amount of money being traded on their platform, and they can't keep up with it. The perception looks bad that they are siding with some of their investors, but I think it's more so those investors, it wouldn't be good for Robinhood who took money or these companies invested in Robinhood for them, Robinhood then to turn and side with them because it'd be bad for their business. So I don't think that it does look like that, but I don't think that is what it is. I think they just have too much volume on their platform and they can't keep up with the volume. So they
And
crash.
I
Because
don't think-
TD crashed.
Go
TD
ahead,
crashed
Kamal.
too.
Go ahead, come
I
on.
mean, I tend to always play devil's advocate and think of like what benefit that you can get out of being shiesty, or how just the government, America, all these things. And when I saw this whole Robinhood thing going down, because I have also Robinhood with my Ameritrade, and when I was trying to buy things and I saw across the board things were shut down, like it's not even like I couldn't just buy GameStop. I couldn't buy anything on my Robinhood. And I started thinking like, what percentage of chances is it that Main Wall Street just called Robinhood up? Like, listen, there's a situation going on, so we're gonna give you this much money and maybe this much stocks that you can give away on your platform to shut everything down and clean this up for us. Like, is that crazy? Or
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think it's one of those things where, again, being in the main street and not it's not worth the speculation, because the question about using Robinhood in any platform, it really is based on the user experience. That's what really you got to pick a trading platform for.
True, and that's why I have different platforms. But this whole thing and that thought process made me be like, okay, this platform might not be the platform for me.
Yeah,
because I know my Ameritrade was still working when all this other stuff started happening where I couldn't work on Robinhood or Stash.
My
Natasha
Ameritrade.
and I was in the middle of day trading and everything just froze. TD, the only thing that I had the option to move on was Charles Schwab. That was the only thing that I had. I went to Webull, that was locked up. But I think Robinhood just it's like a PR crisis. I think, but to Maria's question about Robinhood, because Empress asked me the same thing, and I said, if you feel like in your heart that you don't want to be a part of a platform that could have done something or manipulated or went against Main Street, so to speak, then for all rights. But I think you have to ask yourself what platform is going to suit your needs in terms of trading. Robinhood is just the most user-friendly. I've tried Webull, TD Ameritrade. It really is the most user-friendly. So that's what you got to ask yourself. Those are the pros, and it's just a simple checklist. You know, is it something that I can easily trade on? You know, do I have the ability to do options or anything else that I want to do? Do I want to, tie into everything that's happening with GameStop and just cut my losses with the software? I think it's a basic pros and cons list when it comes to the platform.
The other thing about being too cynical, because I was pretty cynical at first too, but if you step back and take a look at it, they let it go on for a while, right? So those hedge funds, if they were siding with their and doing all of that, they would have cut it off way before it went to $350. Like, I mean, the short squeeze was in at 20, so they could have let it go to 150 and cut it off, but they kept letting it ride. So I don't think it was
siding prior to. I don't think it was a premeditated siding. I think it was a siding that was, we're in a crunch. We're in a bad situation right now. So we can't just call and be like, hey, shut it down. We got to give them some incentive to shut it down.
And then once again, I don't know about like I said, these investors, they're not only getting squeezed out by GameStop, but they're also invested in Robinhood, and the best interest of Robinhood is to keep their customers happy. So if they were getting losing on one bet, why go to Robinhood and make them lose too? Because if Robinhood is getting this negative publicity, that's not good for their investment either. They're gonna lose there too. So that's just the thought. Vicky said, do you think they're gonna change the game? They're gonna have to change. If they change the game, they're gonna have to change the way people short stocks. I mean, they did. They can't just change one side. they can't change, you know, the retailers who chase them out of the stock. They don't have to change the way they shorted the stock. From everything that I heard, you know, people are saying, you know, the way they shorted that GameStop was ridiculous, and that's gonna happen. That was their own negligence because you can't short a stock that much.
Yeah.
But I think as far as Wall Street, though, Will, I think they're going to continue doing what they've been doing. We're new to it as far as being able to access these stocks through apps and different things of that nature without having to go through an actual stockbroker. So what I think they might end up doing is creating legislation to actually keep people from from doing what Reddit did more so than anything. You're not going to stop Wall Street and the big guys from doing what they've been doing for probably like 100 years. And they're going to stop us from doing what Reddit just did pretty much.
The interesting thing is that the politicians is on our side. They're on the retailer side. AOC, even Marco Rubio, who's a Republican, was like, you know, they didn't agree with what happened. So they're on our side on things. So they're not going to create laws to, again, block us, you know, and especially Democrats is in power. You know how they feel about Wall Street. And Warren, what's her name? Senator Warren. What's her name? The one that ran for president? Elizabeth Warren. She was cheering them on, you know. A lot of people are cheering the retailers on and saying good for. And then one of the hedge funds said they no longer shorting stocks anymore. They shut down that division. So it's kind of like retailers won.
Yo, I think today's point though, it is something to watch. And this is to my point about everyone diving in on this specific scenario. It's something to watch because you never know. Group manipulation is not illegal. It's not like insider trading. That's the governor that they put on major investors to have access to information that you invested in the stock. But group manipulation is not illegal. It's not illegal what was done, but you know, you never know. The platforms that are hosting these chats, these Reddit chats, like they closed down the group. They did stop the group, and I heard that a lot of the reviews on Robinhood was removed too. A lot of reviews when people had their trades forced, sold, and so it's interesting to see what's going on. But I think overall, my advice is like stick to what you know. The speculation to drive you crazy. Unless you have some insider information yourself, the speculation to drive you crazy. But I'll open it up now. Anyone else have any questions on GameStop? Because we definitely went in on and it's something it's worth talking about. It's worth discussing to we're blue in the face, really.
And Rel, this is my last quick little point on that. They was trying to say too, like what Reddit did, it's like borderline collusion in a sense, which is illegal. So they just trying to find a way, if they can create that it was collusion, to create some type of legislation. That's what I was hearing. If they can prove that it was collusion. Yeah,
and I think that's something for us to definitely look out for, you know. And but I think to not steer away from the average investor's strategy of playing the stock market long term, it just creates another layer to chasing the market, which everyone has a frenzy about now. So everyone heard about stocks. Everybody I know, it was a old lady, must have been like 75 at the store talking about GameStop. I'm like, yo, I know she ain't on no Robinhood app or nothing. How she hear about GameStop? I had a couple of those shares, baby. But to that point, I think, for us and for the investing approach that's really going to make you money in the stock market, it's that long-term approach, not that chasing the market stuff, man. Although I would like to rewind me, Will, and Daniel 2 weeks ago and giving everybody a tip like, yo, sell everything you got, put the shit on GameStop. And we all just laughing, drinking right now, rich as hell. Like, that's chasing the market.
My curse is I'm too logical because there's a guy at work also that got BlackBerry and he was just yelling down the hall, yeah, my stocks ain't trash no more. So I'm too logical. I'll sit there and be like, nah, that stock, what's that gonna do? And these make no sense stocks are the ones that's rising the most, just off for group manipulation.
Yeah.
Maria
So
says she
let's
has
talk
a
about.
question. Maria says she had a question.
Oh, go ahead, Maria.
So I like literally just bought GameStop, I think on Friday, but it was like Friday evening, so it didn't go through yet. And I got it at I think let me double check right now. It's either 312, let me see. Yeah, it's 312. And so my question is, should I keep it or should I just get rid of it?
I think you definitely should get rid of it. I think you definitely should get rid of it because the cap that it has to go is 480. So that's the cap that it has to go in terms of where it reached its peak. So you're thinking about a stock that you can make 50% on. I think you could risk less money making 50% on your stock. So I always look at things from a percentage standpoint. Because you didn't catch the wave and you caught it right now where it's settled.
Mhm.
I don't think you should keep it.
Gotcha.
Anyone else want to chime in on that? Okay. So let's talk about market volatility, guys. Like I think we're at a space now where we saw the transition in power. The market stayed pretty steady, still rising, a little fluctuating. I really don't know what's going to happen. This is an anomaly what happened with GameStop, but I want to ask everybody, how is your portfolio? Is your portfolio safe? Is it resistant to if the market peels back a little bit like it did, right after Corona? And are you in position to hop on some good buys? So I want to push people to start looking at your portfolio and kind of seeing what you've been holding on to, what didn't grow, how you balanced out your growth stocks, your index stocks, your tech stocks, and your anchor stocks, and really just start to dive into your portfolio from that perspective. So from a market volatility standpoint, we should look at some stocks that that I think is going to protect and kind of leverage your portfolio if there is a downturn in the market. So I wanted to throw that out there and see what people's thoughts are. One, how are their portfolios, and see what people's thoughts are about their comfort level if the stock market was to start to pull back.
I have a question. So I feel like I have a good portfolio. I wanted to know, should I invest in more index stocks? Because that's the index stocks, from what I understand, it's more safer. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So I think I want to add more index stocks to my portfolio. But
So
for
look
the
at your
most
whole
part,
portfolio, do
Mhm.
the math on how much it is, and see how much you have invested in index stocks currently, and try to get it to 20% if you can.
20%.
Yeah, try to get it to 20% at the minimum.
Okay.
And ever since I've been trading, just as a point, I've always used index stocks as like my savings account in terms of investment. And it's been very, very good to just your extra money that you're throwing into the stock. If you don't want to buy something and you don't want your money just in your account, you can certainly put it in an index stock like SPY or VOO, VOO.
What's the other? That was my next question. What do you think of some good index stocks?
VOO.
BOOO.
V, Victor,
Victor.
octopus.
Okay, VOOO. It's two O's, or two
Yes,
O's, right?
2 O's.
And then the other one is SPY, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And SPY stands for S&P yearly.
Okay.
So that covers all the top 500 companies on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can also use my Acorns, code to get in on Acorns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
we should spread the love. When I think a lot of people are on Acorns, but let's certainly, if we're looking to, that's one thing, that's a good point, Ty. I think if we're looking to get into an app, we should make sure that someone from the group gets those credits rather than you just going to the platform and signing up for something. Because I know Webull gives 2 free stocks. Acorns, they have all types of promotions on Acorns as well. So we should definitely look at that as a group.
Does everybody know about Acorns?
Yeah, I think everyone on this
Stash also, I don't know if everybody has Stash, but Stash also gives you some free stock and $20, I believe, towards any stock once you put $100 in.
Yeah, I have Stash. I like Stash.
Yeah. All right, so we wanted to like dive into something a little different. This is like class 102, but Will's been teetering on options a lot. And he got me really excited because he learned, and we wanted to talk about options from the standpoint of just learning the vocabulary and starting to kind of walk before we run, and run before we start sprinting and all that good stuff. So Will, you want to dive into
options?
What you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So options is basically a contract. As soon as you buy one or sell one, you're in a contract. There's 2 different types of options. There's a call option, and that's basically saying that you're betting that the stock is going to go up. The call option, once again, is betting that the stock is going to go up. Now, the put option is you betting that the stock is going to go down.
And a put is betting that it's going down, right?
It's betting that it's going down. So if a stock is at $10 and you think it's going to go up within the next week, 2 weeks, month, year, you're going to buy a call option on it. If you think it's $10 and that's overpriced, you're going to put a put option on it. So that's
Call option is if it's going, if you're betting that it's going up, and put is if you're betting that it's going down. Okay.
Yep.
That's how Mark Cuban made a lot of money on a put option on what company was that he invested in?
You seen that interview, right?
Yeah, he made a lot. He made a lot of.
That company doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money off of the .com.
Exactly.
Bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go a little bit more. Strike price is an important vocabulary word term.
Strike price.
Strike price is the price in which you, the buyer or seller, goes into agreement to buy or sell that security at.
Repeat that. Strike price is the price that the buyer or seller does what?
That you, the buyer or seller, agree to buy or sell that stock at.
To buy or sell the stock.
So if that price is at $10 and you put in a call option, and you say, I want to buy that stock at $8, you're buying it below the current price. But someone is agreeing to sell you that stock at $8.
So
okay, so
overall,
that I knew that one might have questions about. Go ahead, come on.
So you're saying the strike price? Okay, so the option is at $15, but I don't want to pay $15. So I'll go into the option and I say I want to do a strike price at $10.
Right.
So there's a drop down box basically for strike price, and then I hit that and then hit $15.
Yeah, I probably should have gave you these 2 definitions first, and I skipped this. That's my bad. It's gonna make more sense to these next 2 definitions. So there's a It's called in the money and out of the money.
In the
So,
money.
so when you're in the money, your strike price will be below the current stock price.
In the money is below the current stock price.
Yep.
Okay.
And then out of money is going to be above the strike price.
Above the strike price? What is going to
Yeah.
be what? Above, right?
Above the strike price. Above the current
Above
price.
the current stock price.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Above the current price.
Next time, I'm staying home for breakfast.
Is that a Michelle Obama?
It is with Grover.
Okay. I recognize her voice. Like, wait, what is that?
So what I would advise on everyone with those definitions, those are the basic options trading definitions. Definitely do your due diligence, and it's so easy to really look up videos on specifically that particular vocabulary word and dive in deeper. Options is something that's a side bet. It's side betting on the market. It's not traditional. I've seen people, actually somebody who I follow, Ash Cash, compared CeeLo to options trading. And I saw that and I thought it was really funny, but whoever's familiar with CeeLo, there will always be people that are out of the money. Their money is not in the pot, but they're on the side betting, I bet he don't get 4 and better. So that's considered options trading to a degree, but I think it's a different mindset. I never got into it because I just didn't. I don't have the patience, really. I didn't have the patience for setting in line and just thinking about it. It's a different way of thinking about trading to me, but it does give you a sense of security, because if you bet on something that is like a traditional, just like how people short stocks, if you bet on Tesla, for example, or Amazon, or all of the stocks that may be too expensive, but you know that are going to keep going up, you can almost, hedge your bets to a degree when it comes to options. But it still takes a little bit of strategy.
It could be risky, as Rel said. It just all depends on how you want to trade it, or it can be more economical, especially for us as a group who have limited amount of funds. So instead of buying 100 shares of something which can cost you 10 grand, you could buy an option on that same stock that costs you 2 grand or something like that. So you can put the option for longer out, which makes it less risky. If you do it for a shorter period of time, like a week, 2 weeks, you buy an option for a week or 2 weeks, yes, it's going to cost a little bit less, but that's when that risk that Rel was talking about comes into play, because it has a short amount of time for it to go up. But over a year's time, if you've done your due diligence on the stock, then over a year's time, that's a long time for you to play with an option, and that's when it could become beneficial to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. To me, like, I've looked at a lot of option videos and still don't really understand, when I look on Ameritrade, how to do the options, because there's just so much stuff on the screen. Yeah, but I do know that, or I do feel that options for me, for the way that I trade, is like a really good route, because I'm always thinking of products, not so much today, but what's happening today and how those products are going to be relevant in months to years to come. But when I see that you can pick a date, a finish date for the options to close, and then you have to I'm not sure if you want to like call on that option, like cash in that option. How does that work? Do you contact the person that you brought the option from, and or is there a drop down box and you click cash in the option and then it goes in and then they have to get, like I'm not quite sure how all of that goes on.
With TD, you're right. That's one thing that I didn't see because I haven't tried to execute a contract yet. I have to call them and ask them. But that's the one thing that I don't see on there, which I've seen that on Robinhood. You could just go click execute. It'll tell you that if you want to execute it, you can do that. Or exercise, that's the word. Exercise the contract. If you want to exercise the contract, you'll be able to click it. Robinhood's options are a little bit easier to navigate, but
what if you don't exercise the option? Let's say you have an option and your option comes up, but you don't do it. Then does it automatically activate, or you just lose out because you didn't pay attention and do it?
No, it doesn't automatically activate. What do you mean automatically activate though?
I mean, I know that. I guess my whole confusion is like I go online and I see this option that I want to purchase, and this is an option that someone else is selling, correct? And but I don't know that person, So, and again, I'm doing most of this through Ameritrade, so I don't even really understand how I am getting this option from this person by looking on Ameritrade. And again, I've never clicked any buttons because when I look at it, it's so much things on the screen that I am.
Well, that part is basically the same thing as if you bought a stock. You buying the stock from a person you don't know. So it's the same thing.
But when I buy the stock, I put in the amount that I want to pay for the stock, and the stock goes through and I get it. With the option, it's a date that it's this time range that I'm saying that I want this option to be, and please correct me if I'm incorrect. There's an option, it's a date range that this option is supposed to go, in my instance, higher, and it does go higher, but I'm supposed to then go back in and state like I want to close that option in that time that it goes higher. And when I close that option, how do I know that the person that I brought the options from received my close and that they are going to in turn give me that, that option?
Because it's a contract. So when you look at that date, say you wanted to buy it February 19th, when you click buy, someone on the other end clicked sell for February 19th. They had the exact same idea as you. What all of those numbers that you checked off, they checked off. So they agreed to sell you that for that price on that date and everything.
Is the close always on the actual date, or is it like a week, or you can?
Calls always, options always expire on Friday.
Okay.
Some stocks, depending on the volume, will have weekly options, and some options will be only monthly if they don't have a lot of options going on, a lot of volume going on.
Let me jump in, guys, because we are at the marker, but I just want to make sure we cover a couple of things. Definitely look up those 5 terms that Will gave y'all about options. That's call, put, out of the money, into the money, and strike price, and do some due diligence. If it's something I think collectively we can continuously talk about options. I think something that we should all have on our radar. It's a great way to invest in a more kind of predictable way, if you will. I wanted to jump on a couple of things before we break. Vicky, it looks like she was trying to get on her phone, but she adopted the stock Roku. Just so you guys know. So we're gonna have somebody on the group giving us touch points and updates on Roku. David, I don't know if we connected on the stock for you to adopt, but Dave and Maria, we all adopted a stock. So we put it in the chat. We can resend it when you guys add your chat. So if you don't have it now, send it to me or Will, and we will get that out. And I want to send out kind of an update of where our stocks are since we've adopted them. Last week we went over the who, what, when, and why of these stocks, how they're making money. I think right now it's just about reporting and being on top of your stock and coming to the meeting with a snapshot of the health of your stock. So as I like to eat my own words, right now, my current stock, the very good food company, is slightly a few cents less than when I brought it. It's still under $6. It's around $5.50 now. I've been watching and monitoring it, and I have about 200 shares. So I think, and it's a long-term buy for me. I was expecting and wanting some instant growth so I can be a little more boastful. But my adopted stock is not doing too well right now. It's just teetering. But I am very, very excited about the growth of the company, the potential growth. So I'm gonna keep on monitoring it in relation to what Beyond Meat is doing, because that's the juggernaut within that space. But they're buying a new facility, as I mentioned, and they're expanding their scale up capacity by April. So I'm excited about the stock, and I'm gonna keep you guys up on the growth of it. Dave or Maria, before we start to wind down, do you guys have a stock that you want to throw in and be accountable for?
Not at this point, not yet.
Okay. Maria, what about you?
This moment, I don't have any.
Okay. All right. So while you're kind of figuring out what that stock is going to be, what we initially asked everyone to do was to figure out how does the company make money? One, who's its competition, and how does it scale up? What is the scalability of the company? Those are the three main factors, and that'll kind of really take you into the ins and outs of whether or not that's a good company to invest in, and then we can slowly talk about the technicals. So guys, good stuff, man. I think this conversation, like I'm sure most investment groups, was
Yeah.
by the GameStop.
Okay, I'm coming.
But I want to make sure that we all kind of get a sense and dive into that. I mean, it's a unique experience. It's an anomaly, but it's something that you can learn a lot about from, because it takes you deeper into investing and what this real game of investing is. Takes you deeper. You can ask more questions. That's why I said the speculation, it's not worth the speculation. Like, you want to really get a better sense of these groups, these meme stocks, so to speak, and what stock manipulation is, and be on the right side of it. Be on the right side of it, so we all could be counting some extra change, especially from Wall Street's pockets. So I'll pause there unless anybody have any last questions or anything else they want to throw into the chat. Always good connecting with you guys. Always good talking money. Is everyone good? Everyone's good?
Perfect.
All right, man. We'll give you a second. Let's chat afterwards so we can get the next week's agenda out immediately and really stay on it.
Terrell?
Yeah.
I want to confirm we on for tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I want to come.
Everybody invited.
She was getting hot yesterday. She made her first day trade.
My God.
It's like $12, and we jumped on it. And we was playing with the Head and Shoulders pattern, and I told her to sell right when it was going down. She sold right there, made her point, so it was good. It was good, but
let me just give you a little heads up. So Friday, I logged on early. I think Thursday or Friday. I'm still having issues logging into Ameritrade on my desktop, so I had to do it from my phone, which was nerve-wracking because I looked up the top gainers and I said, let me take a chance without Terrell, and I invested in this company. What was it? It's called. Hold on, I'm sorry. SBEI or something like that. Anyway, I ended up losing money. So I was like, damn, I should have waited for I lost like $50.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Natasha be jumping off the ledge. She don't play around. I'd be like, yo, you play around.
Listen, scared money don't make no money. I'm trying to make some money.
If you believe it, do it.
Yo, so let's hit it tomorrow morning.
Yes, I'm ready. I need to make my money back.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it, man.
Okay.
All right.
Good night, guys. Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
All right.